ancient Indian universities. India is called Vishwaguru. Not for nothing it is called so. Ancient India had more than 16 well-established large universities. Every temple had imparted education to the students. Temples, much small and large, were centers of learning. In fact, every house was an educational institution, for the father had taught the son or the guru taught the shishya. There are many in India, both Christians and other self-styled secularists, who shamelessly say that, rather preach that the Britishers, white Christians, had imparted education to the vast multitude of Indians. Secularists indeed. They in fact blabber that Indians were civilized by the Britishers, little realizing that before the Mughal and Britishers looted India, India was one of the richest countries in the world. India was exceedingly wealthy and prosperous. India had excelled in education and knowledge, in fact in every field. Even 500 years ago, Britain was a mere country of shopkeepers, and literacy was very low, rather abysmal. India was enslaved and looted by the Britishers for about 450 years. Their reign had begun from 1500 and ended by 1947. When the British had enslaved and looted India to its skeleton, it was its duty to provide education and medical care and others. It was a duty and no charity. It was and is a myth that British white Christian missionaries had provided education and medical care. Truth, they gave us basic education and medical aid, nothing more. The British gave Macaulay's system of education. This system produced gumastas, clerks and dvibashis, translators, that two Brahmins who had some initial education in Sanskrit and others. They had hardly given or imparted education to others. Christian Medical College Vellore was the only medical college given by the Britishers. How many medical colleges and engineering colleges had been constructed by the British? Hardly any. Did the British provide education to the SCs, STs, Muslims and slum dwellers? Never. How many Indian doctors, engineers, lawyers, PhDs and ICS officers were produced? Except few Brahmins, none. The blabbering that the white missionaries gave education and employment to Indian falls flat. All medical colleges, engineering colleges, IITs, IIMs were established after India gained independence only. Doctors, engineers, graduates, postgraduates, doctorates, IAS, IPS officers were produced only after Indian independence. There are many who cite the examples of orphanages, schools and other educational institutions run by the Christians. Education is a side business, second business for Christians. Conversion is the main business, occupation, money spending occupation. It is not as if all Indian Christians are born Indians or imports from Vatican. Majority of them were Hindu converts only. Sure, Jesus did not bring from heaven all the Indian Christians using flying saucers. The schools, orphanages run with government money, grant in aid, not with Christian money. It is Hindu money. The revenue collected from churches and the mass and the properties are for their welfare only. The revenue collected from crores of Hindu temples and and the other properties, vast properties, several lakh crores are usurped by the state and central governments. These are used to offer populist welfare schemes to the minorities. Hindu money is used for not only Hindus but also Muslims and Christians. However, revenue collected from churches go to only Christians. Revenue collected from Muslim properties, Waqf properties go to only Muslims. This is the farcical secularism being followed in India. Fraudulent secularism shall be the more appropriate word. Secularism is the best term to describe. The schools, orphanages and colleges run by the Christians are run with government grants, grant in aid, Hindu money. As these institutions are run with government money, they are subjected to audit by the central and state governments. The government audit is conducted by the C&AG of India and the respective accountant generals of the state governments under the section 15(1) and 2 of the DPC Act 1971. The auditee institution shall produce the mandatory utilization certificates for the money expended, that the money funded by the state governments were utilized for the purpose for which they were provided. There are several, in fact, thousands of institutions have been blacklisted for having not furnished the utilization certificates for various reasons like embezzlement, unauthorized deviation of funds, unsatisfactory progress, falsified accounts, etc. India had excelled in knowledge and skill times immemorial. No wonder India is called Vishwaguru. In the olden days, rishis, maharishis, the gurus have offered them knowledge to the students, sishyas, what was called Shruti and Smriti, heard and remembered. Repeated utterings gave the right pronunciation, explanation gave the meaning. Repeated uttering made the shishyas remember. The knowledge from one generation to the next was passed on by word of mouth, grammatically correct and pronunciation perfect. Contrast to what is being done today, what is prevalent today. This was followed by Gurukula system, where the Guru taught the pupils selflessly. Even today, there are few teachers who do not receive monetary compensation for teaching, imparting knowledge, saying that it is akin to selling knowledge and education. Today, education is a money-spinning big business industry. Even after the introduction of palm leaf writing and the advent of print media, the practice continued in the villages. The Guru Sishya teaching was preferred for its simplicity, affordability and reach. A student had no need to spend a fortune. Education was available at the doorsteps or in the vicinity. Even as near as 1822, there were statedly 22,000 Thinnai Pallikudams in Chennai alone. There would have been lakhs in Tamil Nadu alone. Whole of India would have had lakhs of such schools. Thinnai Pallikudams was an education imparted by the teacher in his front yard of the house. Even in olden days, women too were well educated. There were statedly 24 female poets who had composed several hymns of Rig Veda. 3 are mentioned in Samaveda. Some of them are Lopamudra, wife of Agastya, Saraswati, Angirasai, Sulabha, Maitreyi, Gargi, etc. There were several hundreds of Tamil female poetess during the Sangam period. Some of them were Avayar, Anjiyar, Allur Mullayar, Andimandi, Kavalpendu, Taya Kanyar, Pari Mahalir, Ilaveyini, Velli Vidiyar, Mulliyur Budiyar. These names are a bit hard to pronounce. These cited are merely illustrative and not exhaustive. There were a lot more. There were so many intellectual poets, female poets, mentioned in the classics of ancient India. Valmiki, Agastya, Vedavyas, Tolkapiyar, Avayar, Thiruvalluvar, and innumerable learned had written epics, composed poems when white man was not even wearing loin cloth. The savage barbarian Bakhtiyar Khilji and other Islamic barbarians ransacked and looted Nalanda. Thousands of unarmed hapless monks were burnt alive and thousands were beheaded. The illiterate barbarians had burnt the library and manuscripts, which continued to burn for over 3 months. Over 10 million manuscripts were said to have been destroyed by the Islamic barbarians. Ancient wisdom and knowledge painstakingly collected over centuries, rather millennium, was destroyed by a single illiterate Islamic religious fanatical barbarian. He did not burn the library and the billions of manuscripts present in the libraries. He had destroyed the immeasurable treasure trove of knowledge accrued over millennia, which would have benefited mankind across the globe. Bakhtiyar Khilji's atrocities, burning and destroying of Nalanda University, is corroborated by 3 sources. The first evidence is from a Muslim historian. The second are from the records found in Tibet, Buddhist monks' books. The third is from the archaeological evidence. More than 1.5 foot layer of ash and charcoal deposits were discovered. The Persian historian Biraj A. Siraj, who had in his Tabakat A. Naziri, wrote about the loot and massacre near Bihar Sharif. Muhammad I. Bakhtiyar, by the force of his intrepidity, threw himself into the posterior of the gateway of the palace and captured and destroyed the place and acquired great booty. The greater number of the inhabitants of that place were Brahmins, and they were butchered. The record of Minhas I. Siraj, who was an eyewitness and has given an eyewitness account of all these atrocities. Bakhtiyar Khilji had not only burnt and destroyed Nalanda, Takshashila, Odantapuri, but also several universities.